Shabbat Shalom. So there's a game that the rabbis play in the Midrash where a rabbi will start with like the furthest thing you could think of from the Parsha or that's relevant, and you have to sort of guess where they're going as the rabbi winds their way to the point. So we're going to play that game today. But it won't wind that long, don't worry. In 1906, Sir Francis Galton, I told you it's going to be weird, an English scientist whose background is not entirely savory when it comes to his thoughts on the Jews, but for our purposes today, his experiences are important. Because in 1906, he visited a livestock fair. And at this livestock fair, he witnessed a contest in which people could enter to guess the weight of a particular cow. And what he found was that afterwards they let him look at all the guesses. And so what he found was that no one person accurately guessed the weight of the cow. However, the median guess of all 800 guesses was only 9 pounds off from the true weight, and the mean was precisely the exact weight of the cow. And Sir Francis Galton and others have extrapolated this, that there are times where there is wisdom to the community, and that the community itself might be wiser than any one individual in it. And we see this play out specifically in the Parsha that we read this morning. Because Yitro, Moses' father-in-law, comes to Moses and says, what you're doing is not good. After witnessing Moses spending a day's adjudicating from morning to night, right? Every single person came to him and he solved all of their problems, and that was untenable, says Yitro, right? You're going to wither away if you do this. You have to appoint other people to lead for you, right? Or with you, right? You need all of these other folks. And on the face of it, this seems like just good leadership sense, right? This could be taken right from Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders of the Jewish People, or whatever the book is. But one of our classic commentaries calls into question the idea that the Torah here is just teaching us good MBA practical organization of a company, right? And so Abarbanel, I think 15th century Italian commentary, says, no, Moses has been leading a people already for quite some time. His brother Aaron, we're told, even when they were slaves, was sort of in charge of the people. He was one of the kind of heads of it. These guys understand what leadership is. And so Yitro's words here, which Moses agrees, right? Moses says, what you say is correct. This has to be about more than just practical leadership. And Abarbanel actually doesn't really give an answer. His question is better than his answer. But other rabbis come and try to teach us, okay, so what are we learning from this moment where Yitro says, Moses, you can't do it all yourself? And Or HaChaim, another of our commentaries, says that the point of this is to learn that wisdom can come from anywhere, even from non-Jews, right? That we can learn something from others in the world around us. And I like that. The Talmud in Ta'anit says this scene right here teaches us that one is not allowed to study Torah by themselves. That it is considered dangerous. It doesn't go so far as to say it's a sin, but it's considered dangerous to learn Torah by oneself. So why is it dangerous to learn Torah by oneself? You know what? Why is it? I'm going to ask. Why? What's so bad about learning Torah by yourself? I've done it quite a lot in my life. How else are you going to study for finals in the middle of the night, right? Why? Yeah? Say interpretation, why? Because the interpretation and talking about it from different meanings is, in fact, an important part of the study of Torah. I like it. Other thoughts? You didn't know. Usually that we don't do the question and answer part during the sermon. I know you weren't ready for this. It's okay. I'm going to give you all wait time while I blather on, and then we're going to get a couple more answers. Yeah. Okay. Learning how does, so learning by oneself creates the threat of arrogance. I'm trying to not take this personally. I'm just kidding. Okay, great. Okay, I like this. We're going to come back to it. Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah? Other thoughts? I saw at least another hand here. Yeah? Yes, ma'am, please. Great. Great, great, great. Um, one person alone might get something wrong. Since a classmate of mine in rabbinical school is here with us today, I'll share the story of my first year of Talmud. I was studying by myself. I learned this whole page of Talmud, assuming that this word, when it says ma'iria, right, what is this seizing upon? I read as ma'aria, what is a lion? And I had worked out this entire thing. So the Talmud is talking about lions, and I was really confident. And so, the Professor Rabinowitz says, who wants to read and translate? And I said, I've got it. And I said, what is a lion? And he laughed. He's like, ah. And I said, I'd like to not read the rest of the page, please. I got it. So one person alone could make a grievous error. What is a lion? Okay? I love it. So we've got one person alone might make a mistake. You need to have other people because the interpretive process is part of what it means to study Torah. And we've got one person studying alone. There's a risk that they become so infatuated with their own understanding of it that it could lead to arrogance. All of these are potentially quite correct. And all of these are what perhaps Yitro is intimating when he tells Moses, you have to stop doing this by yourself. It might be that he says, because Moses, you might get something wrong. And if you're the only one judging the people, then there's no court of appeals, there's no one else to read it, and we could make a huge mistake. It might be that he's saying, Moses, you need to include other people because this Torah that we're going to have is going to have to evolve and grow, and we need to bring in some other folk into that. And it might be that we're worried about Moshe's arrogance. Now, we're told Moses is the most humble person in the whole world, but still, how much longer could Moshe be the sole adjudicator of everything without it a little bit going to his head? And so perhaps one of the things that Yitro is saying here is you need to give away of yourself, and you need to limit yourself. It's not just that you can't do it alone, it's that you shouldn't do it alone. We need to involve other people in this project. And I want to posit that God's answer to Yitro's question comes in the second half of the Parsha. Because after we see Moses trying to do everything all by himself, and then Yitro has this very helpful idea of you should bring in a few other people, God says, no, you're not quite getting it. I'm going to give you what you need, and that's right. Nice. All right. Thank you. That's the Aseret Dibrot, the Ten Commandments, the Torah itself. Right? The Torah itself is going to be a way that we democratize learning to everyone in the community. Everyone has equal access. You don't need the chiefs. You don't need the leaders. You don't need the rabbis. Shh, don't tell Barb I said that. You don't need the rabbis. You don't need anyone but yourself to learn God's words and God's wisdom because we have the Torah right here. But of course, we all know that after this happens, we get commentary after commentary after commentary after commentary. We do need rabbis. We do need people to interpret it because the interpretation is part of what we do. And so as we build out this corpus of interpretation on the Torah, right? The Torah, the Word of God, meant to teach us something about how we can live our lives, which no one can quite understand. And so we all, over the years, try our best to live a good life, to make our guesses, like guessing the weight of a cow at a fair. No one is going to get it 100% correctly, but if we include every voice, if we include all of the interpretations, then the mean and the average are going to get somewhere near what we're trying to aim for. And that's why we here are part of a movement which wants to include all of the voices that we can. It's why the Talmud not only preserves the answer, but it preserves all the dissenting opinions as well, right? Because we need to have every voice and think about, even if we disagree with it, where are they coming from? Why are they saying this? Is there passion there? Is there some kernel of truth there? How can that maybe pull us a little from where we think we're so sure of ourselves, but Yitro and Moshe are saying we can't be, and it moves us a little closer to this golden mean that is what the Torah is trying to teach us. And so as we go out and we read this book and we continue to read it, we interpret it ourselves because what we have to say is important. And the rabbis say even that which any student said was also spoken at Sinai. We also listen to what other people have to say about our Torah because what they said was also spoken at Sinai. And only together in our aggregate can we make what God is trying to get us to do. Shabbat shalom, friends.